See if this works. Yeah, I was going to do an overhead, not an overhead, I was going to use the camcorder over here for the Austro-Hungarians, and then I realized, well, it's just too much of a headache. I want to wander around. The camcorder tripod thing would have been in the way for me. I was like, screw this. I'll do it for combats, like when I have to get into like the nitty gritty, because right now I'm not really doing that. And in an inadvertent way, I've got a unexpected vacation day today. The Western Front Association's having a talk later on in the afternoon for me. It's 19:30 their time, and so that's going to be like mid-afternoon for me. Even if I left at, let's say, 1400 or something, we're supposed to also have some really bad weather today, potentially freezing rain or whatever. Biking home, I'm just not going to make it in time, so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to, I've got lots of vacation time, so I just slapped one in, so there we go. I will say this, though, about work. Well, as you can probably see, I've got my headphones on, I'm listening to some techno. One of the nice things about my work is the fact that I'm more or less left uninterrupted for several hours. Not all the time, but quite a bit of time. And I can just pump the techno like there's no flipping tomorrow, and no one bats an eyelash. It's just awesome. So I do, because I try to wean myself off when I'm at home here, just due to the fact that I find it'll suck too much time away for me, you know, doing Great War research, watching videos, or reading, or that type of stuff. I can't really, I don't tend to read. I'll read with classical music, but not. Anyways, let's get to this. We will talk about the Austro-Hungarians quickly. Maybe this is going to be a bit of a babbly thingamajig. I do want to do a post-mortem. Maybe I'll do it for the end of the turn thing, because we still don't know what's going to happen with, well, I'm certainly going to be discussing it with the Russians. But the Germans, essentially over here, split the 7th and the 1st Army in two, severed them. So it's going to be, and this guy's in a lot of trouble. A lot of these guys are in a lot of trouble. It's a fascinating thing. I will say this because it's going to come into play with the Austro-Hungarians when I start talking about this. If I continue on using the CRT, my CRT, and I don't see any reason why not, due to the fact that I'm liking what it's doing. I think I mentioned if you're able, if the player is able to have enough strength points and supply in a spot, and you're able to sustain that for a while, you can do some pretty nasty things. However, buyer beware, due to the fact that if the defender is able to counterattack effectively, well, you know, it's going to come into play. You're going to really have to take a beating to get what you want. It's going to cost a lot. And that's where we're going to get into this, because with the more deadly CRT, demoralization points are going to ratchet up rather quickly. Like just even over there with the 4 combats, both sides took a significant amount of demoralization. I'm going to have to talk about that later also, do about the offset bit, in the sense that it is kind of inspiring. Like I'm sure the newspapers right now in Germany and whatnot are saying, wow, look, we're making amazing progress. We've reclaimed 60 kilometers worth of territory in East Prussia. We've made a monster breakthrough. It's good. They're looking really good there. I would be pumping that up in the newspapers and whatnot, and I can see that maybe offsetting some of the demoralization things. I want to look into that. That being said, let's take a look at Austro-Hungary. If somebody was going to come over right now and wanted to play Der Weltkrieg, this game here, for sure I would say pick the Austro-Hungarians. They got a teeny tiny front right here. They got all kinds of nice, they got, all their communication is all that way. We will just, and they're not bad. They've got a fair amount of German troops embedded over here, which I've renamed the Silesian Infantry Brigades. So they're a part of that deal here. I've got some here. Like I said, you're not going to be able to see the specifics, but I'll show you. I'll tell you what's going on. There's 4 armies for the Austro-Hungarians. We've got the 1st Army over here. We used to have the 1st, the 4th, the 3rd, and then the 2nd over here. they've kind of shifted on over a bit. So the Second Army is way over here towards Czernowitz and Stanislau. Well, Stanislaus is over there, and well, Tarnopol would be over there. We've heard about it, but it's not listed on this map, but it's mentioned often enough. So we've got the Second Army here. The Third Army used to be centered around Lemberg and the Bug River. They've shifted down towards that way, and the Fourth Army has taken over the positions along the Bug, and then mostly the San River over down this way and towards the border is going to be the First Army. That being said, what am I trying to take a look at for the Fourth Army? And then we've got Svetozar Brejevich von Bonia over here is the sector commander in Przemyśl, one of the fortresses there, which have been stripped. Remember, they made those Hotzendorf divisions, kind of like the Festung divisions over there. Anyways, oh, and there's the other nice thing about Austria-Hungary. We're allowed to repair our own rail during wintertime, so that's another thing to remember. I forgot to do that for the Germans, darn it. They've got tons of engineers. This is the whole point in having them. I even gave them 3 Austro-Hungarian troops back in the fall of 1914, and they went off and did German training. They were off the books for like 3 months, but now they can repair German rail the same way as well, normal German troops. All right, so I'm not essentially doing anything with, well, I think I potentially, did I write down what I wanted to do? Yeah, so the first objective is going to be to try to take Stanislau. You can't see it here, but the Third Army is just flush. We've got some artillery sitting over here. We've got 46 supply points sitting over there. They've got the Third Army has the 5th and 6th Corps. The 6th Corps is over here. 5th Corps is over here, and then we've got, you know, the Dniester over here, which is a major river at this point. So we've got to deal with those issues. We've got a lot of stuff sitting here, as much as we can. It's not the same way as the Germans, where we've got like 200 strength points sitting over there. It's insane. But, you know, we've got 15 here, 10, 8. I'm doing what I can here. We'll try to make a push towards Stanislau. We also want to try to take Czernowitz. That's going to be more of a secondary thing. There's still got some artillery sitting over here. We'll see how it goes. I would like to start to draw, obviously, have like a diversionary attack, if you want to look at it that way. So hopefully it'll starve him. And you can see the difficulties. I don't know if you can. But the difficulties for the Russians to bring troops, replenishments. If I can cause them a bit of a squeeze here, even like I can get, well, I've got a zone of control issue towards here, but I mean, they can still, whatever. I got to try, but this is a major river. It's going to cause them a lot of grief to bring things across. So I have to, this is a potential bottleneck for them, I'm hoping anyways. Yet again, these guys are just sitting here, sitting pretty. I'm not trying to do anything major with unless of course, I don't know what the Russians are going to do. That being said, the Austro-Hungarians did spend 6 supply points to get 3 aerial asset points, and probably gonna, well, for sure I'm gonna use at least 1, maybe 2, maybe I'll use all 3, but you only get to do this, you only get to pick up aerial asset points once per month. I'm doing it in that special month thing. I know, you know, or maybe it should be 7 turns, just like you would do with trench things. Yeah, you count it in. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so if I want to do it, it'll be another 7. It'll take that many points to get maybe the infrastructure into play. Okay, I'll look at it that way. So that way we get away from the special turn thingamajig. Now, the thing I did want to mention, though, is remember, this conflict zone is no longer, it's not my mini game anymore. This is the narrative. This is the big on thing, the grand campaign in my way. And these conflict zones are no longer in isolation. For example, I stripped 20 German divisions from the Western Europe conflict zone to help out here. I had to. I had no choice, and I'm still not doing well. We'll see how it goes. I think it's doing not bad. But why I'm mentioning that is due to the fact that where's the demoralization? So I took a look at the Serbian front and tried to extrapolate how could I portray that in demoralization points for Der Weltkrieg. And when I looked at, you know, I was looking around, and in the Ted Racer book there, Crowns on the Gutter, he mentions that the Austrians tried to invade Serbia 3 times in 1914. All of them failed. They suffered around 150,000 casualties. The Serbians also took back Belgrade in early December. In other words, it didn't go well. And so I'm going with an Austro-Hungarian infantry division to be composed of about 12,000 men. Just let me go with it. So that would be about 4,000 men per strength point. And if they suffered 150,000 casualties, that would be about 37.5 or 38 demoralization points. So I wanted to reflect the 3 failed invasions and the humiliation that Austro-Hungarian experienced due to this. So I'm going to add 50 demoralization points per failed invasion. Thus, the total is 188. They originally had 157 from my mini game. So that adds up to, for January 1st, 1915, Austria-Hungary at this moment in time, because I'm incorporating, like I said, the other conflict zones. So we have to be aware of this. When I start making attacks and so on and so forth, you know, and I start taking hits, that's increasing my demoralization points. On the flip side, as the opponent, I may want to start seeing a certain side, for example, Austria-Hungary is wobbling. They're getting close to economic collapse or what have you. I want to keep hammering away. This seems to be modeling history quite well, as far as I'm concerned, when you start looking at the other, when they say, like, you know, once one side gets hit, we all do it, or so on and so forth. I'm into this, man. Like, you start looking at the talking of, like, even when they were like later on, the Germans are like, maybe some of them anyways, like Crown Prince Rupert and whatnot, maybe we should focus on Italy, you know, that type of stuff. Rather, you know, that's the way to get the out, like, take these people out, and this will help. This is, anyways, you get the idea. So Austria-Hungary, once they get they're 205 demoralization points away from shaken national morale. What does shaken national morale mean? As far as I remember, it means I'm no longer able to make any attacks unsupplied. It's going to cause some issues. You see where I'm coming from? And then at 180 demoralization points away from economic collapse. I'll have to go and take a look at that later anyways. I'm just saying bad things happen when they get to a certain point. So, and 255 demoralization points away from surrender. So it's, you know, jeepers jumping. I got to be careful here. So that's it. Got to be careful. I took a look at the Grand Campaign schedule. Remember, things are into play. There was already, you know, it takes like 6 months to make some infantry units and so on and so forth. Things are in play. Remember, I was saying, if you want to game the system, though, construct replacement units. Don't construct infantry units. They're half the time and half the production cost. Same manpower cost, but cheaper's jumping, man. Like, you know, just makes sense to me. That's the way I would play it. Yeah, that's it. So when I looked at it, anyways, there's no reinforcements coming, just like the Germans and whatnot. So this is it. You know, of course, I'm now in control of things. I can start readjusting stuff, but that'll still take time. So I don't want to. At this moment in time, I can see the Austro-Hungarians looking pretty darn good, as far as I'm concerned. So you know, we got 8 corps, 4 armies. A fair amount of engineering units. We're not flush with, what are we doing with supply? I got 146 now, I think, I do believe, because the Germans owed us 6 supply points. Got 7 replacement units sitting around somewhere. 3 siege artilleries. I mean, there are 4 strength points still, you know. 4 artillery brigades, 5 engineering regiments, 2 regular cavalry divisions, 3 cavalry brigades. They're basically, I can only use them for counterattacking. 8 elite infantry units. They're at 5 strength points. 17 regulars at 4. And 9 reserve infantry at 3. So there we go. I love it. It's nice. It's so simple. Such a nice little front. Yeah, that's it. Like I said, I've got a freebie day, so I'll do a bit of this and then go off and do some live stream. Well, I've already did a little bit, but I've also got tomorrow's headlines and all that stuff. All right, that's it. Hopefully that went well. I'll go take a look and see. But Yeah, I know the last video. I was like talking about tons of stuff, and I'm like, the camera wobbled on away, and it's like, couldn't even see what the hell I was talking about. But, oh my God, I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again, I hope. I just am just in heaven. I absolutely love this game. The amount of stuff I'm getting out of this is just, God almighty, I'm just so happy. This has just been everything, more than I've wanted from a game experience, that's for sure. And I don't see this ending for many years as far as I'm concerned. Okay, that's it. Better go warm up that coffee. See you later. Hope you're having fun.